you, Al, so much for joining in today.
Oh, my pleasure.
Wow.
My pleasure.
Wonderful.
How are we doing today?
Great. Just great.
That's my brother.
You brought your brother.
And we want to give a shout to my mom, because my mom's watching. That's her favorite son.
That's our only son.
There you go.
No hard feelings about this, but I just wanted to bring attention and say hi to Mom. And I want to thank you so much for coming in today. You've been on my wish list, my guest wish list for a long time, and I'm really glad that we were able to capture you today.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
And I understand you have a show at the Cutting Room tonight, so thank you so much, because I know it's really hard for people who are performing in the evening to come in during the day of a performance. You've got a lot of stuff going on. You have a big band as well, so I know you have a lot of responsibility, so thanks a lot for coming in today.
My pleasure. You said we're playing the Cutting Room tonight, and we're in New York, and you asked me to come by, so it's all working out.
Really excited. So when my brother was talking about coming in for a visit, I said, well, it's going to be a really exciting week when Al's coming in, and has a show at the Cutting Room, so it's a double hitter, So you were the reason he came in this week.
I'm honored.
Yeah.
I'm honored.
Yeah. So
Same here.
yeah, so it's good. So thank you very much. I want to also give a shout to my crew. I got 3 people in the control room. Thank you all for coming in today and helping out with the show, and Z, Ricky, and Jamal. Yeah, so I'm really grateful for all of that. And thanks for coming in. So tell us about Al. Everybody knows you especially knows you from being the trumpet player on David Letterman. I mean, what is it like to have a career on TV with such a substantial show like that?
It was, we're very fortunate to be on the show for that long. It kind of, just happened out of nowhere. I never really planned on a career of being a TV trumpet player. And it ended up that I am next to Doc Severinsen, I'm the second longest network
Isn't that
trumpet
incredible?
player. Yeah, ever. And, we did a lot of shows, like
2,000, 3,000 almost, right?
a lot of shows, a lot of shows. And they're all in there somewhere. they're all
I
in
can't
there.
imagine all the stories that you have.
Oh,
but
we met a lot of people. We played with a lot
everybody.
of different acts. Yeah.
Yeah. And not only that, you were also part of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame performances. I mean,
those were great. Those are great. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And back in the day, when the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, we were the house band at all the induction ceremonies, and we would do the jam at the end when they used to have this rock and roll jam, and it was, oh my gosh, like Mick Jagger and David Bowie and Keith Richards and Benny King and John Fogerty. And I go on. Usually when somebody's in the news, I'll go on and say, oh, I think I played with, like Tom Petty. I think I played with Tom Petty.
You did?
Yeah, and I'd go on YouTube and I thought, oh yeah, I did. And I'd find a
somebody
clip.
posted that recently, and it's like, oh, I forgot about that. How could you forget about it,
They were just coming fast and furious. And
It's incredible, yeah. But you're at top of the line, and you get to work with all these great people and great memories.
I was very fortunate. So, very fortunate. And, when I was a little kid learning to play the trumpet, my 2 older brothers were trumpet players.
Oh,
and I wanted to be as cool as I thought they were. So I wanted to play the trumpet. When they used to bring their friends around, when my brother was supposed to be watching me, they would make me get my trumpet out and make me play in front of them and their friends. And when I used to make mistakes, they would... Yeah, they would kick me. No, they would tease me on it. And well, thanks, because now
Look what kind of career you have.
There you go. Yeah.
So the next question would be, what are you doing now since David Letterman's not on the air?
Oh my God, we're so busy. I thought I was just gonna retire and just kind of
like my brother.
Yeah, walk around in my pajamas a lot. My house clothes. But I teach. I do clinics all over the country. I work with drum and bugle corps and marching bands. I have my own big band, Al Chez and the Brothers of Funk. And I still doing sessions in New York and play with other bands, and it's just a mishmash of. I did a radio show for a while on iHeartRadio. I'm fortunate enough to do some really good television shows like I'm doing today.
Ginger New York, yeah. We call it the GNY bump.
There you go.
Not everybody gets on this show.
That's right.
Oh, there you go. Well, I got on the list, huh? All right, I like that. So it's been a little bit of this and a little bit of that, which was kind of like the Letterman show, because the Letterman show, it was a little bit of comedy, and then it was a little bit of playing, and then it was a little bit of play on. It was different every day, which was very fortunate. Unlike somebody who's fortunate enough to be on a Broadway production, that you're playing the same music every day. Every day it's the same thing. Although we were on Broadway, everything was completely different every day. The only thing that was really the same was maybe the opening theme, and then we had different acts. And we would listen to what was going on in the conversation, and if they were talking about a certain subject, if they were talking about a zoo or animals, then we would play, let's get a song, zoo, animals. Oh, let's play Jungle Boogie. We play that for the commercial break. So a lot of times the commercial break had to do with what the guest was talking about.
And would you know about that in advance? Or
no, we had little headphones, and we could talk to each other, and we'd say, he's talking about, like, whatever the subject is. Even now, whatever somebody is talking about a conversation, I'll be thinking about what song would I play in the soundtrack of this conversation in my head. Yeah.
Did you know that I got to be on David Letterman one time?
We had this discussion, yes, right?
Not as a solo guest, but I was part of the Top 10 Countdown.
During a time that he was on.
When you were
I
there,
was there, yeah.
on the
We didn't know each
I
other at
remember
the time.
you, though.
Oh, do you?
I did. You were one of the accountants.
Yeah.
There you go. See?
What do accountants do before April 15th?
You were number 2.
That's right.
Say that? I took a guess at that.
That was really exciting. Yeah. You're pretty quiet over there. You have any questions for our guests?
Well, one of the questions I wanted to ask you is, as a trumpet player, where do you get your wind? How do you get the wind to play all that?
It's
I know you're breathing in there, but sometimes you have long sustained notes and repetitive notes. How do you do that?
It's one of the things that I love to educate, and I love to teach. That's why I work with John P. Stevens and Edison Marching Band, and I do clinics all over. And one of the big things that I do in my teachings is that. So that's a great question for me. Is the wind? Where does the wind come from? And it's not really. We all have the wind. We all breathe. We all breathe when we talk. If we didn't, we would just keep on rumbling, and after a while we run out of breath and we don't have any more air. So we know exactly when to breathe. It's what you do with that air, and it's not how much air you put in, it's the speed of the air that's coming out. Such as if you were to take a breath and you were to take and then you were to say donut with all your air. Now you could take that air in again, and you can say donut. You're both using the same amount of air, but one is coming out at a faster speed. The faster the speed, the louder the note.
Oh.
See there?
See, we don't learn those things in guitar class.
So it's a breathing technique.
Breathing technique, and we do it in our speech patterns. The difference in our speech pattern. Every word that we say when we're speaking, it's not all the same. If everything was the same, it would be monotone. But we have different inflections on different words that we speak because we use different speeds in our speak. Sometimes we slow the speed down. And when we slow the speed down, we're at a whisper. And when we increase the speed, it comes out louder. And our speech pattern goes like this, and we try to do the same thing. Just take that and put it to playing a brass instrument.
Wow. Isn't that something?
Did it take quite a bit of learning to do that?
I'm still learning. The smartest man in the world, the first thing that he will tell you is I don't know everything. And that I will go to different clinics, and I will go to watch different people teach, and I will pick their brain. And I try to learn something. I'm learning something from you two. Okay, so every time I do something, I'm trying to pick up.
Yeah.
I'm trying to pick up something from everybody. We're never done. We're never done learning. And there's always something that we could adapt, to some other part of our lives, or to enhance ourselves. So I'm always trying to pick up something from everybody.
I used to be a competitive swimmer, and it was really amazing that people in the top lane, they were still learning, and they could be Olympian swimmers. And it's like, wow, they still have video analysis done. They still struggle with their stroke. It's incredible. So that if I didn't see that firsthand, I just wouldn't understand what you're saying. But I think that's one of the great things about music is never ending in your learning, and it keeps your brain going so that as we get older, you know, there's always conversation, there's always, you know, brain usage for thinking and memorizing and practicing and socializing, all those kind of things. So I'm learning the guitar as an adult. And he's been coaching me on some things and quizzing me. And I can feel that brain activating up there. Oh, it's too early in the morning. What do you mean I have to figure out the chords on that guy playing in the subway?
There was a gentleman playing on the subway, and you were trying to pick out the chords that he was playing.
I recognized them, you know. And so
He
I would quiz her. You know,
See,
I said,
I don't have
do you
that.
recognize that? Do you that hand formation? That's a C chord.
See, that's great.
enough. He's doing
now,
that.
to me, that's brilliant because I can't do that. See, that's some I don't have that.
Yeah.
I could play the trumpet. I could whistle. That's about it.
We understand you have a great career as a whistler.
I've done TV commercials whistling. Yeah.
Isn't that credible?
You know, I had to join the union when I came on David Letterman, and they asked me at the union, 802 AFM in New York. They, you know, what do you play anything else? Do you play piano? And I said I could whistle. And I was the only person back in the day listed under whistler in the union book. And Travelers Insurance came and they opened the book and needed a whistler, and they looked whistler, and I was the only guy listed. So
Isn't that something?
I did TV commercials.
Congratulations.
Yeah, some with Tony Hawk in them, and I did a Frito-Lay and Travelers Insurance.
Oh, isn't
yeah, whistling. When you ever hear a guy whistling on TV commercials, probably me.
So funny. So you're in this. You're the band leader for this big band.
I am the band
Al
leader.
Chez and the Brothers of Funk.
Correct.
Big band, right? So we have a video to roll in. If the control room could roll in our video that we have, so we can see, the audience can see what you do when you are performing. It's really, really enjoyable to see them in front of all. You're going to have a lot of fun tonight. Yeah. So if the control room can roll in the video, so let's take a look.
Dashing individual.
Wonderful. Uh-oh. Cut the music. Is that your music?
It was like an infomercial.
That sounded like audio.
That was good. That was good. I still like watching that.
That's exciting. I mean, when first time I saw you, I think it was last year. You were at the Cutting Room last summer. I came in to see it. Yeah, boy,
On my birthday.
really impressive. Really, July?
Yeah. July
Happy
7th.
birthday.
There you go. You know, I always wanted to. My dad was a country and western guitar player when I grew up, and he called himself Chet Peters instead of Peter Chez, out of Jersey City, New Jersey, because he thought it sounded more country. And my dad always wanted to. You know, he was like that's how he met my mom. My mom was Trixie, one of the background singers that used to sing with him. But my dad always wanted to be like a band leader, like it's one of the things he wanted to do is always have like a big band behind him. So after my dad passed away, several years ago when I was young, and it's one of the things that was on my list to do was to front a band. I always grew up with a lot of people around me, so everybody's like, why don't you get a 4-piece band? Why don't you get a 5-piece band? Well, no, I want them all. I want them all. So I have like a 14-piece band. It's like a rock and roll band in a big band setting. All my friends. We were talking before about the guys in my band, and I have guys from Rochester, New York, and guys from Philadelphia, and guys from Baltimore, guys from New Jersey, and they, just the best group of guys I could ever imagine, and girls, a couple of the sisters of funk in there too, and they're just, after a while, and I don't mean it by after a while as a level, but everybody that we associate in the music business, after a while, everybody you meet can play. They all have skills. You can get virtuosos in every position in the band and have just an incredible, players. But I want guys that are also my friends, guys that I could hang with, guys that are, my brothers, so to say, and that's important to me. So that I finally have that with the Brothers of Funk, and I really love that. Friends and, making music with your friends, as Willie Nelson, said, nothing better, nothing better.
What happens if someone calls in sick, like when you have a performance like tonight?
I had a guy call in sick on the way here.
Really?
Yeah,
wow.
he was, we have 14 people, 14 pieces, but there's about 30 different guys that we use, so the core of the guys are usually the same. My Rochester, New York guys, which I love, they come, they'll be here tonight, they'll be at the Cutting Room tonight, and we use, like I said, about 30 guys to fill that.
Yeah, because I know that I'm sorry, I'm talking all the time.
No, go ahead, it's your show.
You performed at the Rochester Jazz Festival this past year.
We did. That was incredible. That was, I think, 12,000 people outside. And this band outside, with the trumpets, when we have space, and oh my gosh, it's just the best, because the trumpets just ring. And you could be, people told me they were, like 5-6 blocks away, and they were like, what is that sound? And they just followed it to, to our state. So it was really, really good.
We were hoping that you could demonstrate today, but you tried it out and you said like the air was dry. Is that what you said? Can you explain what that means?
The room, it's great for speaking. TV studio, but for playing the trumpet, it sounded kind of like a kazoo, because there was no reverb in here at all.
Interesting.
But it's always fun to play in different rooms. And, the Cutting Room, which we're at tonight, that's a great room. That's a good one.
Our ears are going to ring.
No ringing. No, that's a good ring. That's a good ring.
I saw on a monitor a number of the different performers that you've played with, for example, the Rolling Stones and some others.
Wow.
And my question to you is, how do you get a gig, if that's the correct word, with them? Do they just happen to see you and say, well, I like that trumpet player. We need a trumpet player. Is Al Chez? Do they call you by name? Or do you just kind of fall into something like that?
Both way. I never auditioned for a gig in my life. I never went to a an open call kind of say oh, they're having auditions for this. It was it's a big tree, the music industry, and you know this guy and he knows this guy and he knows this guy, and they're somebody recommends you through this guy, through this, it's all this brotherhood of you, and it would be somebody would need a horn section and they would call this guy who knew this guy. I got a gig Tower of Power through the guys at Letterman, and I did Bon Jovi from guys that I knew in the drum corps. It's weird. It's all.
So you can never really expect what you're gonna, who you're gonna meet.
Right.
Actually.
That is true. That is true. But you know what?
But they have to like you though too.
They have to like you. They have to like you. And more importantly, not as much as like I said, we could all play. You got to be able to hang. You got to be easy to get along with. You got to be, you got to be, you got to be able to ride on the tour bus and get along with everybody. You know what I mean?
Great, yeah.
Instead of just, there's the guys that they go and they do their job, and then they.
What do they turn on their
go
phones
away.
and talk on
Yeah, get on your get on your cell phone. You got to be able to hang. That's the people that I want in my band. The guys that can hang. That the trombone player and the bass player, they're going to go out for a beer after. You know what I mean? Because it's not like, oh, I'm the bass player, you're only the trombone player. No, get out of here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We happened to meet each other at Don Oriola's party.
Felix the Cat.
Felix the Cat, and a big shout to Don. And you know what your first question was when we met? Are you a musician? And I was like, well, I'm learning the guitar.
Wow.
And I tell everybody, that's the reason you play guitar, because it just opens up, the opportunity to have a conversation with people that are creative, and, it was an icebreaker. And I really appreciate it, because I love listening to musicians, and now I'm learning what you know, but it's a lot of work, boy.
It's
a lot of practicing.
A lot of work. Woodshed, we call it. A lot of woodshedding.
We were at Guitar Center yesterday, and I went downstairs and I caught him in the showroom practicing. I was filming him, and he didn't know I was there.
That's kind of lost in the moment.
There you go. Well, you know what they say? They say, practice like everyone in the world could hear you. So there you go. So every time I take my trumpet out of the case, I imagine that everyone in the world can hear me play any note that I play.
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
And I play it with that purpose.
Oh, interesting.
So when you're playing, see, you never know.
Sometimes I'm really grateful that there's nobody else around.
Me too.
Hear me make the mistakes I make.
I was going to ask you, do you have any words of advice? But that's a really great one,
Well, I tell the kids that every time, a lot of times when I take my horn out of the case, I will just stare at it before I take it out, and I'll just open up the case and I'll just kind of look at it, and say we're going to do something. We're kind of like, would you like to come out and play?
You have a dialogue with your instrument.
Yeah, and we're going to say something. What do we want to say? And I take it. I take it very seriously whenever I play. Like I said, I want to imagine that everybody can hear me, and I want to play for everybody too. So it's a two-way street there.
That's really exciting. We're actually down to our last 3 minutes of the show.
Wow.
So
Was I babbling?
I don't know. If you weren't, we were listening. Is there anything else that you'd like to ask him?
Well, I guess the other little bit I wanted to say was I noticed on the monitor when you're some emotion, the emotion that's coming out of your horn. So I can understand that you're having a conversation with your horn and trying to get, in the Zen moment or whatever with your instrument, because it's a communication device. You're expressing yourself with that?
Yeah, as much as I can. And I want, not only do I want to express myself, I want the people that are listening to the band, whether I'm playing the trumpet or I'm singing or I'm being the band leader, I want you to, when you come to an Al Chez gig, I want you to feel, but I want you to feel not just that you're listening to good music. I want you to feel about like an old song comes on the radio, and all of a sudden you flash back to this, time in your life. I want you to feel these different emotions when you come to see us, and I have to bring those emotions out of you. That's my job. Okay, my job isn't just to play the notes and rhythms on a trumpet. My job is to help you emote feelings and emotions that maybe I want you to think about loved ones. I want you to think about happy things. I want you to think about sad things. A good day is a day that you can have like a really good belly laugh, like one of those laughs that somebody goes and say, are you okay? Like like, oh, there's something wrong with that guy. That kind of laugh. Those are good. If you cry, you don't always cry for bad things. Sometimes we cry for good things. If you can portray all these emotions in a day, man, that's a great day. And when you come to one of my shows, I want you to feel all them different emotions. I want to bring that. I want you to be happy. I want you to be sad. I want you to be remorseful. I want you to remember. I want you to think of your childhood. I want you to think where you're going. That's my job.
Well, you're going to have a great experience tonight. We see these guys.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it.
I always watch it. In fact, you told me that you were coming up to the cutting room, and I said, I know that. I saw you on the calendar. I already got my ticket.
Yay!
It was wonderful. Thank you so much for coming in.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Yeah.
Pleasure to meet you.
Had a blast.
Thank you.
I like you guys. I like you guys.
Which one's older?
How you doing?
I dye my hair to cover that gray.
I have people dye it for me.
Great Al Chez. Well, check him out tonight at the Cutting Room. I guess the doors at 6:30. Shows at 7:30. Yeah, we want to make sure. Yeah.
And we also have a CD out on iTunes
Okay.
and merchandise. If you, come check us out.
Right.
See us on Facebook even.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, everybody, for coming in. Thanks, Mike, for
You're
joining.
welcome.
You come back next week. Stay along. Stay away. He's visiting. Oh, here we go. So I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. Ginger, New York, every Friday afternoon at 2 p.m.